Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it is time to take a look at the brand new welcoming Chancellor Rimuru Tempest, the AoE character and first summonable battle unit of the new Protector of Peace team. He looks to be a very strong AoE character, but he's quite selfish. He only really buffs himself to sort of most everything that you care about. So he's water, he's physical, he uses a sword, he's attack growth, he's on Shizu's Will, Octane Demon Lord, Prosper, and the new Protector of Peace team. His AoE ult lowers physical resistance by 15%. It gets double damage when you have an EX ult, as all AoE characters do. His first skill, 80 points, gives everybody guaranteed crits. There's no restriction there, it's just everybody gets guaranteed crits, which is okay. And then it also gives himself a 150% ult damage buff. Note that it is only him that gets the 150%. So if you were to try and put this Rimuru on another team as a support character, you would only be doing guaranteed crits. You would only be giving that team guaranteed crits, and for 80 points, because this ult damage does not matter if Rimuru is not the focus of damage. So not a very good support skill in the future or for previously released teams. He is meant to do Big Daddy damage, and he certainly will. His second skill is a single orb change to green, and the reason why it has a blue or an orange is because it works like the Ogre's Pride Soe, where it will change any color orb to green. So it could be a single blue or it could be a single orange, doesn't matter, it'll be turned to green. So he does have some versatility. I just wish that, on a green team that resets skills, you could have given him a double orb change. I don't think that would have been out of the realm of possibility. But instead of giving gauge increase on the orb change, he's giving himself a 10% weakness strike buff for the end of the fight. So between stacks of 10%, and it's a single orb change, again, on a skill reset team, you are going to probably use the skill a lot, so you can probably get 60, 70, 80% weakness strike by the turn 8. So that's going to be fairly powerful. And then his own 150% ult damage will make him hit very, very hard. His Valor trait seals defense skills. Okay, cool. His actual trait, if you send 6 greens, he lowers the enemy's defense, which is not a very good trait, but here we are. And overall, this Rimuru is going to do a lot of damage, and that's about it. So he's not going to be a good support for future teams. He's just here to put numbers up. But let's see how high those numbers go. Alright, so we're going to go into beatdown battle, EX2 with his protector, with the free-to-play guild. We're going to bring Isis for the green buff and the orb change. Fount of Wisdom Rimuru has the physical buff for this new Rimuru. They're both physical. His orb change doesn't matter because we're not running a blue team. Geld is here for the orb change and the skill point gain. Rimuru obviously is the nuker. And then we've got Overlord Shizu, who will be a very good character for this team, even though she is magic. She's going to be giving our triple ult swap to greens. She's got the weakness strike up and ult resistance down. That will combine very well with what we're doing with Rimuru's own personal buffs. So this should be pretty good damage right here, and it's a very incomplete team. Alright, so turn 1, since Geld is only changing Protector of Peace orbs, we had to move him to slot 2. We'll bring Rimuru in slot 1, which means that both these orbs are now Protector of Peace, so we could use Geld's orb change, and then we'll just go ahead and bring Overlord Shizu in for her protection trait and the Milim that's underneath her. So that'll work pretty well. You could also start with like the skill point units instead of the big 3 for protection gauge, and you could get away with using the Isis buff turn 1 and the Geld orb change. That would certainly work. Wow, that's certainly a hand right there. Okay, well, let's do some fun things, I guess. So we do have Isis, so we'll definitely gonna use her. So orb change, 2 of those blues. Okay, perfect. And then we'll use 1 orb change for Geld, since we don't have any Isis orb, or 1 orb change for Rimuru. This is a 10% weakness strike stack that we've done, and now we can use Masayuki to reset the skills, which means that we could use Geld's orb change again and call it a day, or we could do 2 uses of Rimuru, because Masayuki allows us to use an unlimited skills in a turn. So 15, and then this would jump up to 25. And, well, no, it would jump up to 35, my bad. So let's just use the Geld Orb change. And let's use the Geld buff. So this lowers a weakness resistance till the end of battle, but also gives us that skill point permanent gain that Protector Masayuki does not have versus traditional other stacking protectors. And this will allow us to cap out very, very well. Still have yet to use the Isis buff, which I don't know if we actually need the Isis buff on this team, or Exalted Champion Valdora, you could certainly bring him as well. They're both magic, they both green buff, they both orb change. It's just what kind of orbs do they change? Okay, so he's got an alt already. Perfect, fine. This hand is, well, we can work with this. So let's use the Isis buff now. Boom. Let's use her orb change since it's been reset. That'll change the 1 blue. And then we'll bring Overlord Shizu back in. We will alt swap with her. Did I say alt swap the first time? Orb change, and now we're going to alt swap. And now, let's use Rimuru to change one of these oranges. Boom. We'll use Masayuki to, again, reset the costs of everything that we've just previously used. And then we'll use another orb change and another stack of the Geld buff. Boom. So now we're getting 100% extra skill point gain on greens, which already give us quite a few points anyways. But now we have the Isis buff plus the extra 100%. We've stacked, 3 or 4 times a weakness strike, so we're going to continually do more and more damage with Rimuru as the turns go on. And, I mean, that's it. And we're going to go to turn 8, and we're going to nuke. Alright, this turn looks really good, because we can just use, again, Rimuru back-to-back and change those. You could use Geld if you wanted to. These are 2 Protector Piece orbs, but if we're trying to max out Rimuru's damage, by God, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we will use Masayuki to reset Rimuru back down to 15. We have 175 points. We're always going to have a lot of points. So even if we don't reset Rimuru every single turn, we're going to have enough to do this again and again and again. So another green buff from Geld, another orb change, and on turn 4, we're already up to 50% weakness strike. And we have enough points. Like, we could do this again and get another 10% if we really, really, really wanted to. We could also use Geld to get more and more points if we really, really, really wanted to. I don't really feel the need, but just know that the option is available. So we're going to cap out. But I don't want to make that Rimuru skill any more expensive than it already is. So, we're doing 16.6k a hit right now. That's pretty good. And remember, we still have the 150% alt that we're going to do. We have the physical damage from Rimuru in the back. I mean, this team is going to have a lot of points. Okay, so here, triple alt swap away. Boom. We have 2 blues. We could bring Isis in. We very well could. Or we could use a couple Rimuru orbs, which I think we're going to do. So let's reset it back down to 35 points at least. And then we'll boom. Perfect. All right, there's one. And then here's another. We'll do another stack of the Geld buff so we get more and more points over and over and over and over again. And we'll send this over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have 2 stacks of Masayuki, so he can reset twice in a turn right now, coming up. And we've got almost 100% weakness strike now, just from using his orb change over and over and over and over. But remember, that weakness strike only applies to him. It's not like he's giving the entire team a 10% weakness strike every single stack. So he is quite a selfish character. So what are we looking at now? 70, and we can get even higher. So let's alt swap again. Boom. All right, let's Masayuki. Let's Masayuki twice actually, and reset it back down to almost 0 or almost 15, right? 35. So let's do that. Let's just do it over and over and over again, because we're gonna get it. We haven't had to use Isis at all, right? We're not really in a position where we're hurting for protection gauge, because outside of resetting skills, doubling up on Masayuki doesn't really mean a whole lot. He's not putting stacks upon stacks, and we are getting more attack every single time that we send 6 orbs, which is what we're wanting to do from his Inspire buff. But right now, as the team exists, we have no way to max it out at the 40%. So we're up to 52%. So we've gained 32% extra attack over 6 turns. Say inconsequential. But let's do another green buff. So Geld caps out at 500, right? Yeah, 500%. And our greens are currently sitting at 250. So we're halfway there. But it's not like we're really hurting for points. We're still capping out. So, I think on the final turn, maybe we use a whole... well, depending on how many points we have, right? In an ideal world, we'll have 400. Alright, that's an unfortunate hand right there. So I think we're going to have to use Geld a bit. So, we don't have a Masayuki to reset, though. That is kind of a downside, but we'll use the alt swap here. We'll use the Geld orb change, and that should hit both Geld and Rimuru. Perfect. And then we'll use the final use of Rimuru's orb change to change that. And will this get us the max points? It certainly will. So you know what? Let's do... oh, no, we can't because we don't have Masayuki. Alright, well, whatever. Let's see what damage we can get out of Rimuru on the final turn. So we have 400 skill points. We have 240 points worth of big-time buffs between Rimuru, Shizu, and then Fount of Wisdom Rimuru in the back. That's certainly a hand right there. Okay. Well, it is what it is. We don't need Geld up front. His ult isn't really going to do much. Let's bring Fount of Wisdom Rimuru in. Boom. And then we will buff. So that's 65% physical attack, 20% physical resistance down across the board. We've got the 100% temporary weakness strike, which will stack with the permanent buffs that Rimuru has been doing for himself the entire time. And then the 50% ult resistance down. And then we've got guaranteed crits for everybody, and then his own 150% ult buff. So 1, 2, 3. We'll put the Inspire status on him. Not that it matters, because it's a buff that happens at the end of the turn, so if they're going to die, we're not going to gain anything out of it. But with this, we can at least reset his orb change down a little bit, and we can get a few more stacks of the buff. So there's a stack, and then we have enough points to do one more, and we have now a full hand of greens as well. So that's, I think, where his value is going to come in for that very cheap orb change. So Rimuru, 150% ult damage, and then he's got an extra 48% attack, so not very high. But we have no way to really optimize Masayuki right now. But he does have 120% permanent weakness strike, combined with the 100% that Shizu's giving. So we have 220% weakness strike, 65% physical attack, guaranteed crits. Alright, and the enemies have quite a few things going. Weakness resistance down. Crit resistance. The weakness resistance down is the stack from Geld's skill, by the way. Crit resistance from the Watermelon trait, defense down from the new Rimuru's trait, physical resistance down from Fount of Wisdom Rimuru, and ult resistance down from Overlord Shizu. So let's turn the animation on, and we'll watch his ult and see exactly how much damage this boy can put out. I kind of wish we had an orb for him, but oh well. Alright, Rimuru, with his splitting sword, Jink, combines with his magic power, and then he just shoots it out like a railgun or something. What does it say? Festive Bombardment does, after some fireworks, does 2.2 million damage. I mean, that's fairly good for 3 big-time buffs. It's not nearly as good as the Ogre's Pride team that just ended, because they were, she was doing 20 million right now with the team set up, but we don't have a lot of buffs for this Rimuru right now. And we certainly are not maxing out Masayuki's full potential of his 40% attack per turn. So when we do get the ability to do that, this Rimuru's numbers will jump infinitely higher. Like a lot higher. But it's still not bad. 220% weakness strike, or just 120 just from using his skill a whole crap ton of times, is not insignificant. So he's meant to do damage, but no one else in that team is really gaining anything off him, except an orb change and guaranteed crits, which we can bring a whole lot of other characters that can do that. Alright, next up, we're going to go into what we're going to make into a burst damage stage. The Earth 2.0 Tempered Edge facing Leon and Velzard, they do a lot of damage very, very quickly. So our goal is to kind of burst them down using this Rimuru, who is going to be type neutral, but we can use his 80% or 150% ult damage and guaranteed crits to kind of win us the fight. We've got Exalted Champion Velzard, who's going to convert the whole hand to greens, which he definitely wants, and then she's going to give him the element buff. Veldora's here, orb change, and the green buff. Rimuru is, alt swap technically one turn and give the attack buff. The hero is going to steal orbs for this Rimuru to try and get his EX ult as fast as possible. And then when we've swapped out Guy for Tempest Leap Benimaru, because Guy literally will do nothing for this Rimuru. He's not Space or Wind, he's not Primal Demon or Exalted Champion, so there's no point in bringing Guy. So we've swapped him for Tempest Leap Benimaru, who, even though his orb change is useless, his 50% ult damage, or 50% physical buff, will definitely help this Rimuru as well. Alright, so Veldora will orb change these two, since they're both going to be Exalted Champion orbs, perfect. And we're going to run it just like this, because we want to leave the hero in the back, so we can hopefully orb steal from somebody. And if no one gets 3 orbs, we'll just reset until we do get that hand. Hopefully we get it on the first try, though. And okay, yep, that works. Veldora has 3 orbs. Perfect. He's the one that gets swapped out anyways. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna do decent damage. This ult will hurt whoever's up front. Thankfully, the hero is the only one with type disadvantage, and she's gonna go away. So let's put the magic resistance down, which doesn't have any bearing on Rimuru, but the green buff is active now, so we'll bring the hero in, we will steal some orbs, and then we will take her out for the new Rimuru, and then we can use Velzard. The weakness strike that we're going to get from his orb change means nothing here, because we are not type advantage, so there's no real point in attempting to use it. So we don't really gain much. Okay, we're going to miss the ult by a little tiny bit. Maybe if I put the charm on or something. But the Exalted Champion Rimuru will at least be able to ult swap away next turn. We just have to survive, what, 2 ults? 1 ult? 2 ults. This ult and then the next turn's ult. Ooh, oh, he pierced me too. Rude. That's a lot of Rimuru orbs. Okay, well... You know what? We're going to come back, and I'm going to put the ult gauge charm on. That way he does get it. Hold on. Okay, we are back. We've swapped out the charm for Velzard into the ult gauge on greens. Now a 6th send of Rimuru will get his EX ult, so that next turn we can ult swap with Champion Rimuru, and then give him the attack buff, and then send Rimuru to the back, so he doesn't get killed by 2 ults and some follow-up orbs. Yeah, that definitely hurt. Okay, but everything should be good here. So alt swap away and attack buff. So ideally, next turn we have the 80 points from his own skill plus the 40 from Champion Benimaru, and then he should be looking fairly good because we will have just enough points. We'll have 10 extra. So not a lot to use anything else, but we will be, max power. Plus we'll have the element buff from Velzard still. And let's send this on you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Veldora might actually hit pretty hard here, because he's got the attack buff and the element buff and type advantage. Yeah, 41k. Good job, Veldora. Alright, please don't kill anybody, though. Alright, Frostbite. His ult will hurt. Okay, that didn't hurt as bad. Alright, cool. Everyone has lived, which means that we can swap Rimuru for Rimuru. Perfect. And then we'll use the big time buff and the physical debuff, and we'll put that on Velzard since she has more health. So we'll use this first. So guaranteed crits for everybody, which, I guess is cool. And then the physical buff, which they do have physical resistance. So how much is that? 80%? Pretty hefty. I think we'll still be okay. Alright. So yes, 150% ult damage, 50% physical damage, 50% or physical power, 50% element buff, 55% attack. Let's see what we can do here. Plus guaranteed crits. And we do 500k versus Velzard versus 400 something on Leon, and that's because of the 25% ult resistance down from Benimaru. But obviously, it's enough to kill. So you can make him into a burst character and make him the DPS unit. You just have to fill it with supports that actually make sense for him. Hence why we had to take out Champion Guy. Milim wouldn't have done anything. The hero, I mean, you could just bring any triple orb stealer. You could bring Summer Hinata if you wanted to, or Bride Shuna. It doesn't have to be the hero, because she's only here for the utility. But I mean, yeah, that cool. I guess, yeah. I mean, we could do that with a lot of other characters as well. Don't get me wrong; he's not overly special. Okay, I think we can call his initial showcase there. We put him on his meta team. We put him into a burst scenario with a bunch of other random support characters. I mean, he works fine. His meta team obviously still needs a lot of help from the other 2 summonable characters that will come out later in September. But for now, I mean, he's okay. Yes, we could have got more damage out of his meta team by using other supports. Totally, 100%. But Isis and Geld are free to play. Fountain Wisdom Rimuru is very, very old. Overlord Shizu, I mean, yeah, if you don't have her, things are going to get rough. I would assume that one of the incoming units is going to be a triple alt swapper, or at least a double alt swapper. Probably a triple, though, because this is a stacking team. And then some kind of other buff that Overlord Shizu isn't doing, because, you know, if you didn't summon for Overlord, you're never going to get her again. But, you know, Rimuru is a good AoE DPS character. But he's only good at that. I'm not gonna try and put him onto a team and make him a support by only being crit. Like that's I don't think that would be a very good use of time and showcase. So he is meant to do damage. Congratulations. A lot of other characters can do damage as well. 150% is again the highest singular skill alt buff that we've seen in the game. Guaranteed crits for him are cool, and other units are also cool, but also kind of mid at this point, unless you're combining it with other skills. And then his single orb change, as we saw, can be very versatile and can give him a lot of extra power. But again, it's only him. So I don't know how much value people are going to get out of having this Rimuru in the coming future, where, you know, you're not wanting to crit, or you don't want to run green orbs, because at that point his entire kit is useless, because that's the only thing he's giving to other teams, is an orb change and a guaranteed crit. His alt buff and his weakness strike are personal and selfish, so no one will benefit off of that except purely him. But let me know what you guys think of this new Rimuru. We will obviously be using him a lot more in the coming weeks, and, well, the entire month of September pretty much, so we'll have plenty of time to see what he can look like and also do. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.